Hey everybody, what up? So in this video, I feel like there's, with this Chat GPT thing now. Personally speaking, when I use Chat GPT or Copilot, it actually does increase my productivity by a great deal. And when I'm looking at 15, almost 20 years of experience in the industry of building not just businesses but websites and websites that mobile apps like video games, things in the cloud, Azure, AWS. Like I have a lot of different experience when it comes to creating these web-based products that we're all consuming these days, and that includes databases. And the list could just go on and on and on, right? And I'm not necessarily an expert in any one of them. I've said in previous videos I've actually forgotten more than I've ever learned, and the more that I've actually learned about programming and coding and business, and it just shows me how much that I don't actually know. And I am very fortunate and grateful to have done what I've been able to do in my career. And I feel that there's definitely still a challenge out there to continue to try to learn and be creative and build. And what we're actually experiencing now is, not just a pair programmer, but a creative, like, buddy system type thing. It's hard to really explain, but it's getting better and better, obviously. And it's just allowing me to be much more productive. I can be a single person army if necessary. And what I mean by that is, like, if there was some small to medium sized business that was like, I have this business idea and I'm going to spend hundreds of thousands on developers to try to develop it, I honestly believe that I could actually pull it off. And maybe it's not as great or as perfect code as others would. Obviously everybody's gonna have their opinions on what perfect code looks like. In my opinion, good is better than perfect, and working is sometimes good enough. So code dies and changes all the time, and sometimes you can over optimize. Like I forget the guy's name now, but over optimization is the root of all evil. Like that guy. Noose or whatever. Anyway, game theory dude. That all said, like I've always thought throughout my career, and I've actually just seen it like that there was a lot of effort into over optimization, whether it's 100% unit code, unit testing coverage, or just simply patterns that are written out, very verbose and just confusing, complicated patterns that like teams are following, and it takes forever for newer developers to get on board and follow the same patterns and such, and then for all of that just to go away or the product to fail and this and that. It's just life. But my point being is that with these tools and with somebody like myself, with the amount of experience that I have in creating things, I feel like I can create an entire business model from cloud architecture, database, front end, back end, and do it rather quickly. And ChatGPT just makes me that much quicker. And then Copilot, and then just using all of these tools. And then now, that's obviously now extending into new Microsoft products. So if you want to do something in PowerPoint or Microsoft Word or Excel, we're now adding chatbots directly into those products, and if those don't have it, you might be communicating directly with ChatGPT, and it's just a whole new world where basically my point of this video is that I don't think that you have to really specialize in much of anything anymore, except for to be creative and to get things done. And these tools are just going to allow us to be creative and get things done, because it's using the creativity of people that are just much more creative than you are. And it speeds up things just exponentially. So, yeah, the solutions that we come up with from these products may not be perfect, but I think that, as we become more accustomed to using these products, like, it really is going to be about how dynamic and creative can you actually be. When I say that we don't need to specialize anymore, it did seem like there was a time where you could just focus on UI, or you could focus on backend or database work or DevOps or something along those lines. But now there's nothing stopping me from, I used to be primarily a UI developer. That was really what I was getting paid to do for many years. Even though I was doing a lot of back end C# stuff, I was very good with the front end stuff, all the way from jQuery, moving into like, Bootstrap and Knockout, going into React and Angular and Vue. And then, there was that, but I focused primarily on the UI. And then there was a lot of people that were doing like ASP.NET. I go back to web forms and stuff. I wasn't a big fan of doing the code behinds, like dealing with data grids and all this. And I chose to be on the front end so I could specialize, but that was 15 years ago. And now it's like, if I were to focus just on the front end, I would hate to be in that position, because basically ChatGPT can write the front end better than you can. And people that have limited to no experience in front end can use ChatGPT to get things done. And that's a whole new world. I mean, we used to have people that were in DevOps stay in DevOps, and we had people that were database people that stay in database, and then we had backend stay in backend and front end. But now there's no specialty, and if you're specialized in any one of those areas, I think you're going to be in trouble. So for me, I embrace these tools because they do actually allow me to be a DevOps engineer. They allow me to be a database person. Even some of the SQL that it generates, I can still run that over multiple times in a chatbot to make sure, are there any security vulnerabilities here? Like, those are things that would take people decades to recognize in code, that like database developers that have done this for a very long time, they're the only ones that are going to like look at your code and see these glaring holes, but ChatGPT can do that very quickly. So the point being is that if I was going to create a product from the ground up, now I would say like game programming is not quite there. I do game development, and there's like, I still think that ChatGPT is like, and all these AI tools are still far away from being able to help with something as complicated as that, because these tools are very specialized, whether it's like Unreal Engine or Unity or something along those lines. But for general coding, if I want to put something in Azure, AWS, Google Cloud, if I want to use Dynamo, Mongo, Postgres, if I want to use big data, if I need to integrate a chatbot, hook up to APIs, write a bunch of component-based libraries with Material UI or Angular, whether it's React or Vue, or like, it doesn't matter what the technology is anymore. It seems like I don't want to specialize in any one of those things, because we've now entered a world where ChatGPT is going to be your specialized source of knowledge here. And yes, it built that, it created that from people that were truly specialized, and things will change. The question is going to be, how quickly does this tool adapt to changes that are coming down the pike? But here's the thing. We've always had a problem, a disconnect in the programming world, where like we couldn't agree on one language or one specification. Like every browser, every operating system, everybody's doing everything differently. But when we all start using ChatGPT, like, we're probably going to just simply find a more unified way of getting things done. And once we start getting things done to a certain level of satisfaction, why should we continue to try to reinvent the wheel like we've always been doing? We should instead start trying to solve much more complicated problems. How do we actually get to Mars? How do we make browsers better? How do we get augmented reality and virtual reality in the mainstream? Is there a better way of content, generation, consumption, media, like all this, the invention of the television, the modern day browser that we consume most of this stuff? I don't know why I have this. This is the first article that came up on ChatGPT that I'm showing right here. But the point being is, like, we have so much bigger problems to solve. I don't think we should be wasting a bunch of time creating chatbots that can simulate Scarlett Johansson's voice. It's like, what the hell are we doing? Anyway, the point being, though, is that these tools will make us better. We have to be better, I think, as a society and as a group of developers. I think the sky is going to be the limit when it comes to creativity and what you want to do. But we're certainly in for some really crazy times. Personally speaking, again, this gives me the power to tap into the entire array of architecture for web-based development for pretty much any website in the world, in my opinion. So that all said, if I have that power individually and we all start getting that power and we start working together and we start solving much more challenging problems, it's going to be some very interesting times, I think, coming up in the next 5 to 10 years.